There's nothing moral about demoralizing young people, young men, in the name of defending Mother Nature against the patriarchy. It's an ancient form of nature worship violation. It always ends in child sacrifice, which is exactly the situation today. It's pathological to the core. And as you said, the Democrats, all they can do is ape respect for masculinity. I mean, they tried to trot out Tim Walz as a man. Really, there are worse examples of men than Tim Walz, admittedly, but we might also point out
no one's coming to mind, but I'm sure theoretically, spend enough time
if you're looking for archetype of admirable masculinity, I wouldn't start with him.
No.
Right. Well, and the fact that was even an idea, I'm not trying to denigrate Walz specifically, but the idea that
can I just say on the same front, yes, as horrible as they come. I mean, tampon in the boys' rooms, that's enough. Tampon Tim is enough to convince me he's not the archetype. But
they put those in the military bathrooms in Canada,
they've been in some bathrooms at Facebook. That was one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg undid as he became more right-wing or more of a Trump supporter. But I think more about somebody like Doug Emhoff. To me, he's even more of like the poster boy for this problem because he's married to Kamala Harris. He is utterly feckless. If you see him speak publicly or in interviews, all he's trying to do is project sweater man. I would never wear a suit because I'm a sweater man. I'm approachable. I'm a feminist. I'm likable, I'm non-threatening. And he buys into all the tropes. I'm married to a professional, successful woman. I'm happy to be the second gentleman, not threatened by it at all. Only in his case, as it is in so many of these people who bend over backward to live up to that image, it's all fake. He's actually not a supportive partner at all. He's not comfortable in his own skin. And I don't like the word feminist, and I don't call myself feminist, but I think you could create a definition of that word that would be flattering. It could be used in modern day America in a way that could really embody what could be great about femininity. Anyway, my point is he's not it. And he is behind the scenes, according to the Daily Mail and the woman to whom it happened, an abuser, a physical abuser of women. So it's always those guys, right? The ones who are totally against the patriarchy and the first to speak out against toxic masculinity and throw their fellow men under the bus as problematic, who, are in the sweater and saying they'll be second gentlemen. And then you find out they're actually beating the women in their life. That's the allegation. I've spoken to his accuser directly. There's plenty of corroborating evidence. And not one journalist would even ask him about it, Jordan, when they got this guy in front of them. Now, all these self-serving leftists who say that kind of a man would be terrible. We wouldn't want that man anywhere near 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Never mind a role model for our little boys and girls. Not only did they not inquire into the story, when they had him across from them, wouldn't even ask about it. And to me, that is the embodiment of the problem on the left. They elevate guys like that who actually are complete shits, and they want us to celebrate them as non-toxically masculine. Whereas they're looking at an actual man who will throw a punch in defense of a woman or just a weakling who might be getting bullied in a public setting and say he's the problem. His natural male instincts to protect or compete or get ahead are somehow problematic.
Are you tired of being held back by one-size-fits-all healthcare? Or having your concerns dismissed or being denied the comprehensive lab work you need to truly understand your health? I want to tell you about Merrick Health, the premier health optimization platform that's revolutionizing how we approach wellness and longevity. What sets Merrick apart isn't just their cutting-edge diagnostic labs or concierge health coaching, it's their commitment to treating you as an individual. Their expert clinical team stays at the forefront of medical research, creating personalized, evidence-based protocols that evolve with you. Unlike other services that rely on cookie-cutter solutions, Merrick Health goes the extra mile. They consider your unique lifestyle, blood work, and goals to craft recommendations that actually work for you, whether that's through lifestyle lifestyle modifications, supplementation, or prescription treatments. And with a remarkable 4.9 out of 5 rating on Trustpilot, you know you're in great hands. The best part is you can get 10% off your order today. Just head to MerrickHealth.com and use code Peterson at checkout. That's MerrickHealth.com, code Peterson for 10% off. Stop guessing and start optimizing your health today with Merrick Health, because your best life starts with your best health.
Yeah, well, that's the same ethos that underlies the insistence in so many schools, for example, that there can only be cooperative games, right? There's no winners and losers because we're all winners, and there can only be, and it's so pathological, Megyn, because first of all, competitive games are cooperative because everybody plays by the rules. So they're founded on cooperation, right? They have the rules of the game are the constitution of the playing field, and everyone accepts that. And then if you're a fair player, you abide by the rules in practice and spirit, and that's cooperation. And so what it actually is civilized combat within a container of cooperation. So it's unbelievably sophisticated. And then the victory and the loss issue is, well, how about you learn to be a good winner? And how about you learn to have some resilience in the face of loss and take some responsibility for it? And all that does is strengthen you in every possible way. And our education systems, K through 12, are so pathological and so miseducated that they don't even understand those basics about games, right? And games they're a microcosm of society. And we get all that wrong. And so that ambitious striving forward towards victory, you might say, that's the hallmark of stereotypical masculinity, has become demonized, even though it's a hallmark of the civilized conduct that's also protective and resilient.
Well, let me ask you this question. What if we did an experiment starting, the 2025, 26 school year, where we radically changed the so-called academy and we made it much more heavily male, the way it used to be? And I don't know what we would do with those women who were formerly in those leadership. They're now running these universities, but let's just say they don't all have to go, but let's say we reduce the numbers dramatically. Forget where the women go and what we do with them. It's a different problem for a different day. But do you think that the men who would be running those universities would actually change them? Would today's collection of men want to be the men too?
That's a good question, Megyn. Men, what's the old joke? You know what happened never? 20 women got together and built a boat and traveled to a distant land. Right? I mean, well, we don't true. Actually. Right. Well, we don't actually know, I would say, a tremendous amount about those closed sex dynamics. Men are pretty good at sorting themselves out on the basis of competence when they're thrown together in a group. And I think the reason for that, think about it this way, evolutionarily, well, why would you ally yourself with the best hunter? Because maybe the best hunter is the highest status guy. It's like, well, you don't die, that's a start, and you get to eat, and so does your family, and maybe proximity to the top dog confers status, not the highest status, but, do you want to be the quarterback on the winning football team? Yes, but being even the water boy is better than not playing at all. And men are pretty good at that. If they're thrown together in a group and there's a task, they sort themselves out pretty quickly in relationship to competence at the task. Now, that can get perverted by power and tyranny and, aggression. But all things considered, that's the way men conduct themselves.
Okay, let me ask you something. Just to follow up on that, forgive me. My worry about that scenario, this is completely offbeat, but I genuinely have this worry, is like all the toxins in the environment, all the microplastics, all the messing with hormones that's happening through our drinking water. These guys, through no fault of their own, may be getting more and more feminine. And it's also the case, Megyn, that women on the birth control pill are less attracted to masculine men. Well, it's definitely hormonal manipulation. There's no question.
Oh yeah, and we have absolutely no idea whatsoever the political consequences of the birth control pill. We have
Yeah.
no idea. It could be catastrophic for all we know, because we don't know what it means that women find masculine men less attractive on the pill than off. Like, we don't know what the political ramifications of that are. They don't have to be that great to be determining, given the small margins of victory that constitute the typical political campaign. So these sorts of questions that you're raising, like they're open-ended. We don't know, and the same thing applies with regards to hormonal alteration in the
I feel like
environment.
we're finally going to look into it, though. This is one of the reasons why I was such a big supporter of RFKJ. Is I really think you have someone in there who is very open-minded to looking into those kinds of things. I mean, the microplastics, geez, I don't even know how we're going to solve that. But there is evidence that it's hormonally manipulating us in a very unfortunate way. And that if that's true, I mean, the latest data says that we have the equivalent of 5 bottle caps worth of plastic in our brains. We'll never be able to solve that. We need medical doctors to actually help. And further depressing us is the fact that even if you eliminate all plastics from your life, you never put plastic in the microwave so it doesn't seep into your food, you're inhaling plastics that they're using in Germany. That's what the data are. So to me, I just feel like there's so many things we have to solve for. Even if we were to take out our pen and write the guidelines down and then everybody were to live by them, we've lost something as a society when it comes to basic like health, wellness, caretaking, a structure in the world order that would allow for all those things to blossom. And up until about 2 minutes ago, we were paying zero attention to that as a factor.